Welcome to the channel, folks. Today, we're diving headfirst into the world of whirlybirds, but not the glamorous side. We're talking about the stuff that can ruin your day faster than a tail rotor strike in a windstorm fuel problems. That's right, we're talking fuel starvation, contamination, exhaustion, leaks, all the nasty surprises lurking in your helicopter's fuel system that can turn a routine flight into a white-knuckle experience. We're gonna break down these issues, show you what causes them, and more importantly, how to fix them. Because let's face it, when you're up in the air, the last thing you want to worry about is running dry. So buckle up, grab your toolkit, and let's get down and dirty with the nitty-gritty of helicopter fuel fails. Alright, imagine this. You're cruising at a couple thousand feet enjoying the view when suddenly your engine sputters, coughs, and goes silent. Your heart leaps into your throat. You're experiencing fuel starvation. Now, fuel starvation happens when your engine's not getting the juice it needs, like a marathon runner hitting the wall. It's a mechanical issue, plain and simple, and it's usually caused by some critter clogging up the fuel system. Think of it like a clogged artery, but instead of cholesterol, you've got gunk, debris, or even air bubbles causing a blockage. These blockages can happen anywhere in the fuel lines, filters, or even the fuel pump itself. And let me tell you, finding those blockages can be like searching for a needle in a haystack. You'll be elbow deep in engine compartments, tracing fuel lines, and praying you find the culprit before you're forced to make an unscheduled landing. Now, one of the sneakiest culprits of fuel starvation is vapor lock. This happens when fuel, in all its volatile glory, decides to turn into a gas inside the fuel lines. It's like trying to run your car on fumes, not gonna end well. Vapor lock is often triggered by high temperatures, so keep an eye on your engine gauges, especially during those scorching summer flights. But hey, it's not always about faulty parts or fickle fuel. Sometimes, we pilots are the ones to blame. Yep, you heard that right. Pilot error, particularly when it comes to fuel management, can lead to a whole heap of trouble. Forgetting to switch tanks, miscalculating fuel consumption, or just plain old not paying attention to the gauges, these mistakes can leave you stranded in the air. So, the moral of the story is this: know your fuel system inside and out, keep it clean and well maintained, and for Pete's sake, pay attention to your fuel gauges. A little preventative maintenance and a healthy dose of caution can go a long way in preventing a fuel starvation nightmare. Alright folks, let's talk about something you never want to find in your helicopter's fuel tank: contamination. It's like finding a bad batch of moonshine. One sip and your engine's gonna be singing a sour tune. Now, fuel contamination can be caused by all sorts of nasty stuff. Water, dirt, rust, even microorganisms, believe it or not. These contaminants can get into your fuel during storage, refueling, or even just from condensation building up inside the tank. And let me tell you, a contaminated fuel system is a recipe for disaster. It can cause corrosion, clog fuel lines, and even damage the engine itself. Imagine trying to run your lawnmower on sugar water. Not gonna be pretty. One of the telltale signs of fuel contamination is a change in the fuel's appearance. If you notice your fuel looking cloudy, discolored, or if it has any sediment floating around, you've got a problem. Another sign is a change in the fuel's smell. Contaminated fuel often has a sour, pungent, or just plain off odor. If something smells fishy, it probably is. Now, preventing fuel contamination is all about good housekeeping. Make sure you store your fuel properly in clean, sealed containers. And when you're refueling, use a filter to prevent any unwanted guests from hitching a ride into your tank. But even with the best precautions, contamination can still happen. That's why it's crucial to regularly inspect your fuel system for any signs of trouble. Drain your fuel tanks periodically to remove any water or sediment that's settled at the bottom. And if you do find contamination, don't mess around. Drain the contaminated fuel, clean the tank thoroughly, and replace any affected components. It's better to be safe than sorry, especially when you're talking about something as critical as your helicopter's fuel supply. Chapter 3. Fuel exhaustion. The perils of pushing the limit. Let's talk about a scenario no pilot ever wants to face: fuel exhaustion. Imagine this: you're soaring through the sky, enjoying the ride, when suddenly, your engine sputters and dies. You glance at your fuel gauge and your heart sinks. It's bone dry. Fuel exhaustion is exactly what it sounds like: running out of fuel. It's a simple concept, but the consequences can be catastrophic. You see, helicopters, unlike their fixed-wing cousins, can't exactly pull over to the side of the road when they run out of juice. Now you might think, who in their right mind would let their fuel tank run dry? Well, it happens more often than you'd think, and it's usually a combination of factors. Sometimes it's a simple miscalculation, like underestimating the fuel needed for a particular flight, or encountering unexpected headwinds that guzzle fuel like a thirsty camel. Other times it's a faulty fuel gauge that gives a false reading, leading you to believe you have more fuel than you actually do. And then there's good old-fashioned pilot error, forgetting to switch fuel tanks, getting distracted, or simply pushing the limits and hoping for the best. Let me tell you, hoping for the best when it comes to fuel is like playing Russian roulette with your helicopter, not a gamble you want to take. Preventing fuel exhaustion starts with meticulous planning. Before every flight, calculate your fuel needs carefully, factoring in distance, wind conditions, and any potential delays. It's always better to overestimate than underestimate. Next, trust but verify those fuel gauges. Regularly check their accuracy and don't solely rely on them. Use your eyes, your experience, and even a dipstick if you have to get a true sense of your fuel level. And finally, avoid the temptation to push your luck. If you're running low on fuel, don't hesitate to land and refuel. It's always better to be on the ground wishing you were in the air than the other way around. Remember, when it comes to fuel, it's always better to be safe than sorry. Chapter 4, Fuel Leaks, Silent Saboteurs of the Sky. Let's talk about a problem that can turn your helicopter from a graceful bird in the sky to a fiery mess in an instant: fuel leaks. These silent saboteurs can be sneaky, dangerous, and downright terrifying if you don't know what to look for. Imagine this. You're prepping your bird for a flight, and you notice a faint smell of fuel. A tiny leak has sprung in one of your fuel lines, slowly dripping its volatile cargo. Fuel leaks can happen anywhere in the fuel system, from the tank itself to the lines, connectors, even the engine. They can be caused by vibration, wear and tear, corrosion, even a loose fitting. Ignoring a fuel leak is like ignoring a ticking time bomb. One spark, one hot exhaust manifold, and your helicopter could turn into a fireball faster than you can say Mayday. Regularly inspect your helicopter for any signs of leaks. Look for stains, drips, or wet spots around the fuel system components. Don't just rely on your eyes. Use your sense of smell too. Fuel has a distinct odor, and even a small leak can create a noticeable smell. If you catch a whiff of fuel, don't ignore it, investigate immediately. Preventing fuel leaks is all about proactive maintenance. Regularly inspect your fuel lines for cracks, chafing, or any signs of deterioration. Check your fittings for tightness, and ensure all clamps are secure. If you're unsure or uncomfortable tackling the repair yourself, call in a qualified mechanic. Remember, a small leak today can prevent a catastrophic failure tomorrow. Chapter 5. Staying ahead of the game, Fuel Safety Essentials. We've covered a lot of ground today, folks, from fuel starvation to leaks and everything in between. But the key takeaway here is this: being proactive and informed is your best defense against fuel-related issues in the world of helicopters. Think of it like this: you wouldn't drive your car without checking the oil or tire pressure, would you? Well, your helicopter's fuel system deserves the same level of attention and respect, if not more. Early detection is crucial. The sooner you catch a potential fuel problem, the easier and less costly it is to fix. Regularly inspect your fuel system. Familiarize yourself with the sights, smells, and sounds of a healthy system, and you'll be well on your way to preventing major headaches down the line. Remember, a robust maintenance schedule is non-negotiable. Just like you wouldn't skip an oil change for your car, don't skimp on your helicopter's scheduled maintenance. Regular inspections by a qualified mechanic can identify potential issues before they become major problems. Accurate fuel planning and management are your allies. Know your fuel consumption rates, calculate your fuel needs meticulously, and always have a reserve margin for unexpected situations. And don't rely solely on gauges. Use your eyes, your experience, and even a dipstick to verify your fuel levels. Finally, never underestimate the importance of proper training and procedures. Stay up to date on your helicopter's fuel system, understand the nuances of fuel management, and never hesitate to ask questions or seek guidance from experienced pilots or instructors. Remember, knowledge is power. And when it comes to helicopter fuel systems, that power can mean the difference between a smooth flight and a potential disaster. So, stay vigilant, stay informed, and keep those rotors turning safely. Outrow, stay fueled up and fly safe. Well folks, there you have it, a crash course in helicopter fuel fails and how to avoid them. We've covered a lot of ground today, from clogged fuel lines to leaky tanks and everything in between. But the most important takeaway is this: knowledge is power. And when it comes to aviation, that power can literally save your life. So the next time you're prepping for a flight, take that extra time to inspect your fuel system, double-check your calculations, and make sure you're fueled up and ready to go. And if you ever encounter a problem, don't hesitate to call for help. Remember, a safe flight is a happy flight. So, stay informed, stay vigilant, and keep those rotors spinning.